I don't know. I just sent a reminder in my team to see if they're popping on.
Okay.
Okay, can you have a banana?
We'll give it like one more
Yeah,
minute.
I think she is coming. 1 second. I'm trying to find hang on.
So this is going to be kind of a different night. This is kind of a vision I have had for some of our team calls to look a little different. Sometimes we can really miss each other's stories. So we try really hard to post different stories and educate you on all the things that Plexus can help with or what it has helped with in the past. And so I really like to bring it home because these are our people. This is our team. This is our intimate small team. This is not Jessica's big team. This is not Tamara's big team. This is the next step team in our stories. So I have 3 ladies tonight, Jennifer, Joelle, and Cheryl, and they're all having a little piece. This is not all of their story, but they all have pieces of their story that they're going to share with you tonight. If we have time at the end, if you can stay on, we'll be there for questions. If not, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer anything personal. If you have more of a personal question for them that you just want to personally message them about it, I know all of them personally, and they'd be super happy to help you along the way. So, okay. So we're not going to do a whole lot of logistical talk. We want to leave room for all of the testimony and these ladies to have some time, but a couple fun things to celebrate along the way because we love celebrating. Sheila, she went gold today. I think it was today, right? Like just a little bit ago. So Sheila went gold. She's hiding herself on mute. I bet you she's putting a baby to bed or something. So we're all celebrating you with silent yays. So then Sabrina, she did a fast start silver in 14 days. So I don't know, Sabrina, I don't see her on here. She's not on here, but super excited for her and this early journey of getting her products covered. So excited for that. Okay, so do not forget, this is the one logistical thing I have. Do not forget that we have our free codes until the end of this month. That stops tomorrow night at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. Which also we have all of our stuff that we're offering as a team, and that Plexus is offering discounts. So bomb diggity opportunity there. Okay, so Joelle's going to jump on first. She's going to share, and we're going to get started with Joelle. You can take it away, sister.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey guys, as you know, my name is Joelle, and I live in Boynton Beach, Florida. I'm married and I have a beautiful 20-month-old son. And so thanks to Gail, I started on Plexus, on the triplex last April. So it's been a year now. When my son was just 8 months old. And just a little backstory of why I started on it. I was desperate. My period had returned back 6 months postpartum. And I was really hoping I would make it to a year without a period, but it returned back 6 months and my milk supply really tanked. And I just remember feeling really awful because my son would cry a lot from still being hungry, and he wasn't gaining any weight. And the pediatrician was really concerned. And so, like I said, I was literally desperate. So I said to Gail that I need to start now. And that's what I did. And since my son wasn't taking bottles at that time, I literally had to take whatever I had left in my freezer stash and put it in his like purees or oatmeal to help him gain some weight. And we had a really difficult breastfeeding journey. So I was stubborn and I didn't want to give up and just start giving formula, but he wasn't taking bottles. So I couldn't even do that anyways. So after being on the triplex, I can't remember. I know I have it in my notes because I know I journaled a little bit about it, but I can't remember exactly how long, but it really wasn't that long after that I noticed a difference after starting the triplex, that my milk supply came in more stronger, and I could tell because Gavin wasn't crying as much, and the pediatrician did notice weight gain. So that was my first indication that it was working. Of course, there were many other benefits. I won't go into all of that, but such as I had more energy, better sleep, better moods, clearer skin. The bloat was gone, even though the scale wasn't, like, I really wasn't losing anything. I looked a lot thinner, and everyone was telling me that I was losing weight. So I know that was the bloat. But there was one thing that I desperately wanted to see happen, was relief. I have PCOS, so I really wanted relief from my PCOS, specifically my irregular menstrual cycles. I remember having many conversations with Gail about this and just being really frustrated. But she encouraged me to keep going and remember that I was still breastfeeding. So that could affect my cycles. But I was seeing so many testimonies out there, regardless, that people were, with PCOS especially, were having regular cycles. And so I was determined to just keep going and to see what happened. I eventually did add in the X Factor Plus to the triplex, and I switched from the microbiome slim to the hunger control. I don't remember at what point I cut back on my products, because we're on one income. We have been on one income since Gavin was a few months old when I left work, and the cost was just too much. So I said, you know what, I'll just cut back. I took less probiotic and less BioCleanse, but I was noticing some negative effects, things that I didn't realize were helping me from taking the triplex. So I noticed that cutting back wasn't a good thing. So I just kind of sucked it up and just kept doing it, and I was back to being consistent. And so after a few months of being consistent on everything, I had a 35-day menstrual cycle. And I was so shocked. My husband was shocked, and we had charted all of my cycles for years. And he said, you haven't had a 35-day cycle since 2015. And even then, it was a one-time fluke. Like, I had that 35-day cycle in 2015, and then it never happened again. And then I had like 50, 60-day cycles. I know with PCOS, it could be a lot worse, but it still was not consistent. So I said, okay, let's see what happens next month. The next period came, and it was a 36-day cycle. And then we were just floored. And I could tell when I was ovulating, like, I felt the pains, I could just tell. And when my husband and I were trying to conceive for a couple years, I spent thousands of dollars on acupuncture, on herbal Chinese supplements that the acupuncturist gave me, and vitamins that my fertility doctor gave me to try and regulate my cycle so I could have a better chance of conceiving. And none of that worked. I never had regular cycle, even spending thousands on all that other stuff. So literally, Plexus has given me this huge gift, just the triplex and the X Factor Plus of regular cycles. And so I'm really grateful for that. So that's about it.
Yes. Thank you, Joelle. Thank you. I know you may need to jump off here, but like I said, if anyone has questions later, I'm sure Joelle will be happy to encourage you like she's been encouraged along the way in her journey as well. Jennifer, we're going to jump straight to you, sister. And I'm going to have you share a little bit about your journey and your consistency and how you have seen things change.
Okay, so this time around, I'm gonna stick with it. I don't know why I decided to drop the ball the first time, but I definitely regretted it for a while. But you know what? It's a new day, and here we go. We're gonna do it right this time. So the first thing I definitely noticed was the lean, and that was such a big deal to me because before I started doing lean last month, I was not a regular breakfast eater, simply because of the fact that I would either feel really nauseated after I ate breakfast, or it would just make me feel really sluggish and just gross and just, and so I kind of would tend to stay away from it, and I wouldn't really eat anything until about lunchtime. A lot of that had to do with what I was eating. I wasn't choosing the best foods for breakfast, if you will. My go-to favorite was a supersonic breakfast burrito. So not that good of a choice. So the lean was super awesome. I loved the taste of it. It left me feeling full, but not like a bloated full. I'm very comfortable and like, oh, this is good. And then I decided after that, after doing the lean for a few days, I jumped into my Hunger Control Slim. That stuff is amazing. I've noticed since the Hunger Control Slim, after a couple days of being on that not only am I eating smaller portions, and I wasn't even mindful of it at first, just the things that I would put on my plate, my portion sizes decreased, and what I'm picking out for myself, like the foods that I crave and that I want. It's no longer like, oh, I want that honey bun in the cabinet. It's, oh, I want an apple and peanut butter. It's like drastic changes, like vegetables and just things that I would never really eat that much of before, because sugar had like literally taken over my body, that and fast food. So then the Metaburn, that stuff, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin with that. That stuff is just amazing. I'm serious. Like that stuff is a godsend. I heard a lot of people talking about it, didn't really know what it was. So gave it a try, and that, and along with, the probiotic, the Probio 5 and my Bio Cleanse, I've noticed so many things. Another huge thing that was kind of plaguing me, especially in my work environment, was a lot of brain fog. It would be multiple times a day where I would have to, I would be in the middle of something, I would have to stop, I would have to go help a patient, and then I would have to come back to what I was doing, and I would have to totally do a backtrack. I would spend about 5 or 10 minutes backtracking just to figure out where I was before. Now I can go help patients, I can come back, I can sit down, and I can pick up right where I left off. That brain fog has pretty much gone. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Energy is definitely at the top of my list. I've got 3 kiddos that are 10, 8, and 7. So they take up a lot of my energy and my time. I'm able to go out with them. I'm able to have sustained energy. Something that plagued me before was not having enough energy to participate in their lives and their activities the way I wanted to. I felt kind of like a part-time mom, because I would kind of sit on the sidelines and watch them have all the fun and do stuff and play with their dad, because I wouldn't have the energy to do that kind of stuff with them. So yeah, it's I'm so much better, and like I said, don't know why I really stopped in the first place, but glad I'm back. And 2-time cancer survivor, that's one thing that's definitely got me going as well with the plexus, is the fact that that stuff does horrible things to your body. You're putting all these toxic chemicals in your system, and was just hard, but I'm glad I'm getting my life back. And like I said, I'm out there, I've got that energy, I've got less, I'm eating better foods and all of that. So yeah, I'm good.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm glad you mentioned that about the 2-time cancer survivor. I know that that's not a secret. I know that you're happy to share your journey in that, but I will never forget, I know you kind of talked about how you're re-entering it, but I'll never forget the first time around when you just said, Gail, my body feels lighter, as if I'm getting rid of all of this chemical junk that's been in my system for so many years. I just feel lighter. And I think that's a lot of that bio cleanse, flushing all those toxins out. So that's really awesome. Really awesome. Thank you, friend.
Preach it.
Okay, so What'd you say?
I said, preach it from the mountaintops.
Yes. Okay, so next is going to be my friend Cheryl. She is going to share a little piece of her journey as well. She has put this on Facebook, so I'm not saying anything that she hasn't already said. But she quit Plexus for a little while and then came back to it, and she has really been able to kind of share and kind of minister with what that was like in her life. And so, Cheryl, you take it away, sister.
Yeah. Well, Gail, help me out. I think September will be 4 years. Is that right? So I've been very consistent since I started Plexus. I was very consistent, and I did not quit because I wasn't being consistent. I didn't quit because I just didn't think they were working. I quit because I had a doctor tell me they thought I should quit. So, and my husband and I had some conversations about it. So, they wanted me to come off of all of the supplements and just see how I did, and then possibly bring them back on one at a time. So I did. I went off of everything. And that was in February. So I still have not added everything back, and my body has fallen apart. I will just tell you that. So just today, so I'm sure this is probably TMI, but just today, I was like, okay, my bowel movements are finally like normal again after that being off. I just can't even tell you. I can't believe that I lived like that all the time. I just can't even believe that was normal and it wasn't a problem. So I can't believe, it feels so much better when you poop. So let's just say just that. So whoop whoop. So that's a huge big deal. I did not stop taking lean. So I kind of cheated a little bit and kept taking lean because it's my breakfast. I mean, that's literally what I eat. A lot of times I teach yoga, and it's really hard to eat breakfast and then go teach a class. So lean has been perfect for me with almond milk. And I do that probably 3 or 4 times a week in the morning. So I feel like I was getting at least some vitamins in addition to my diet, so a little bit of supplementation. But so yeah. Going back on ProBio, going back on BioCleanse, and I have not really gone back on Vital Biome yet. And the one that I am dying to get back on, but that is probably going to be the 4th thing that I add back, is Slim. And I can tell you right now, I am so bloated. So bloated. So I know because I've had experience. There have been times where I've stopped Slim. It's the only product that I've ever taken myself off of and then gone back on. And every single time I have done that, I have noticed immediate, and it's true, my weight does not change. It's bloat. It's bloating, and it's inches. So, yeah. So I don't want to ever go off of them again. I don't. I'm like ProBio, BioCleanse, Slim, Vital Biome. Those are I love them all. And lean. Those are the ones that I probably always, and I just ordered MediBurn. So that's coming. So,
yeah.
Okay, Jennifer, I was like, when you said that, I was like, okay, I'm super excited to try it. So yeah, and I did have taken a lot of ease, and I have taken a lot of nerve when I've had, the whole reason I went to the doctor in the first place is I was having some symptoms that kind of mimicked a rheumatoid arthritis or some kind of autoimmune. So they were trying to figure out what it is. Now we think it's probably more environmental, but anyway, so I'm not needing the ease, not needing the nerve right now, which is great. So
awesome. Thank you,
Anything else?
Cheryl. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a question to follow up with both of you ladies. So Cheryl, ask you first. Which lean? Because you said you're doing almond milk. So which lean are you taking?
You know what? I've used all of them. I don't really have a problem with dairy. Like, I don't notice a difference with me that dairy causes a problem. But I just try not to overdo it. So I like it with the almond milk. So I go back and forth between the chocolate and the vanilla whey based. I do like the original one a lot too, but if I'm being honest, I like all of them. So I kind of just do all of them. So
Mix it all up. Okay.
But I don't stay on the other one because it's plant-based or I don't have a problem with any of them.
Okay, Jennifer, tell me, refresh me on your water, because you started doing your water. You really upped that about the time you started onto your products, right?
Yeah, and when I was doing my Plexus products before, I had pretty much got to where that was where I was only drinking water. My intake wasn't as good as it should be, but getting off of all the Plexus products, I started back on the sweet tea, the Cokes, all of that stuff, coffee. So now I'm no Cokes, no tea.
Awesome.
Maybe a fourth a cup of coffee every other morning, but my water intake up to about 80 to 85 ounces easily.
Oh yeah, you get it, girl. I'm so proud.
So yeah,
Some of y'all may not know, Jennifer and I work together.
Adding
So
fruit really helps.
Yes. Oh, okay. So do any of y'all have any other questions for Joelle? Had to jump off. She had some family stuff that she's taking care of. But anything for Cheryl or Jennifer? And obviously they reserve the right to say they're not answering that if they don't want to answer. But we've already talked bowel movement, so we should be good to go. So any questions from anybody?
I have a question, actually. So I guess I want to understand, since two of y'all have PCOS in this group, what is it about PCOS outside of infertility that affects the quality of life? Is it the cycle, or I generally don't know? And I ask because I have a friend who has zero desire to have babies, but I'm trying to understand what's like the debilitating part or the hard part of PCOS, because we always think infertility. So outside of infertility, why would someone with PCOS be super blessed to correct their body?
Yeah. Okay, so Joelle's not here, so I'll just be the know-it-all. So PCOS has a direct correlation with insulin. And Kendall, you personally, I know a lot about diabetes and things, but a lot of women who have PCOS end up insulin resistant completely to the diabetic level. It's very common. It's also super common because of that. There's a weight gain, which then has other cardiovascular health issues, which Kendall, I know you're very well aware of that. And so along with that, you have just some unattractive things that happen with PCOS. A lot of women start to have facial hair.
Right.
So when my PCOS was at its worst, I was plucking actually thick, dark, almost like men-like hairs off my chin, which is not something that you want to be doing as a woman in your 20s. And I know Joelle, she even said the same thing to me. She was like, Gail, I'm plucking hairs out of my chin. I said, I know, I did the same thing. So there's just some of that that's just on a personal level that's just embarrassing, if you will. Oh, I forgot to pluck my chin hairs. It's just not something you necessarily want to be checking off your to-do list and getting ready in the morning.
No, I occasionally have to do that, and I don't have PCOS, just to make me feel better.
Yeah. And then there's just to me, I take it from the insulin resistance.
Yeah.
It hits your pancreas, it hits your cardiovascular health. And so when your blood sugar is not regulated with PCOS, you are setting yourself up for a host of issues down the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot. You're totally correct in infertility. That's where a lot of women get diagnosed because they can't figure out why they can't get pregnant. Right. And just from a natural perspective, I mean, you should be shedding the lining of your uterus on a monthly-ish basis. That is what's healthy for your body. If you are not, I'm going to probably step on some toes because I know some people do, you know, the birth controls and they skip periods and things. But if you are not, there is research out there that's actually showing that you are increasing cancerous-like cells to grow in your uterus because you're not shedding that lining regularly.
Wow.
So that's a huge piece as well. So with PCOS, my longest cycle was 176 days. I went half a year without a period. And then sometimes I would bleed for 6 weeks. So I was all over the place.
Yeah.
So you put that together and just like a, hey, it's just nice to know that I'm about to have a cycle. You know, like Joelle was sharing, I had a 35-day cycle and it was awesome. You know,
Yeah.
I never had those until Plexus. Never had those.
Wow.
I'm slightly passionate about it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, Kaylin, my sister, is grew up being a super athlete. And with athletes, you almost kind of think, oh, yeah, it's normal for you to not have periods for extended periods of time. So you were an athlete, Gail. So I'm sure originally you thought that's what was going on.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you
I have a
for explaining that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a customer right now that she just called me. I would have told you she was classic PCOS. She calls me. She goes, oh my gosh, I just ordered Slim in a panic because they told me I have PCOS and I can never have a period unless I take Slim. Why is it that I only have a period on Slim, Gail?
Wow.
I was like, because your insulin is regulated. So it's a huge component to that population. So yeah, does anyone have any other questions?
Okay. I was going to say that I just heard that interesting bit about the uterine lining. If it's not shedding like regularly, it can be, somebody was sharing, their OB was like, yeah, it can be abnormal cells. And they're like, what does that mean? And they're like, it could be cancerous. Like we could have to do a hysterectomy. I was like, I had no idea it was that severe. So yeah. I just say thank you. Thank y'all for sharing your stories. Like this was awesome. So I put in the comments, like, so wonderful to see your faces and hear just kind of, it's, I feel like we've all done that. Like whether you forgot your products at home when you travel or you kind of, I'm like, does this really help? I mean, I've been taking them for 4 years, but I still will think like one product or the other, like, let me change this up. And just like what you guys have said, absolutely. I'm like, yeah, my body kind of just needs these. So thank you for just sharing all of that. I loved it.
Yeah, y'all were great. Thank y'all so much. Nicole, you'll be able to post this recording for us in there. So if anyone missed it, you can tag your people and remind them about it. But thank y'all so much. Have a great night. Thank you, Jennifer and Cheryl, for sharing. You are rock stars, and so are the rest of y'all in joining us, even though you remain silent the whole time. We love you dearly. All right, y'all have a great night.